Good evening, everybody. It is Monday night, August 25th, and we are here for another episode of Market Watch. Rise up. Market Watch. Oh, hang on.
Hang on.
The random sheep that got put in there, which I still love. Hello, everybody. I hope your candles are green today. However, the entire market is red. So hopefully you had a short earlier in the day and your position is in profit. Crazy times in the market. We'll be taking some time today to dive into them. But at first, I'm happy to announce that we have Moty here, founder of DefiTuna, one of the latest trading, lending, and liquidity providing DeFi solutions available on Solana as well. It is fairly new to the scene. And this solution got put on my radar screen from the White Whale over on Twitter, who is a friend of the Rise Up Morning Show. He connected us and we're like, yeah, sure, we'd love to have a chat and a conversation with someone who's kind of at the bleeding edge of DeFi and also in the Solana space. So Moty, welcome. Glad to have you here tonight and get a chance to get to know you a little bit better, as well as get to know DefiTuna as well. How you doing?
Thank you very much for having me. I'm doing great. It's a little bit late here, but always good. I thought that this is a great opportunity to be able to talk a little bit about the product, but also just to hear and just have a genuine conversation with people who are familiar with trading. It's always fun.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, glad to have you here. And did you start off in crypto trading? Was that or were you building?
So actually, I started off trading, but we built this product together with my brother, who is a full-time builder. I'm a full-time trader. He's a full-time builder.
Ah, nice. As someone who has 3 older brothers, it's nice to see a joint family venture.
Yeah, we're 6 kids in the family, so.
You have 3 older brothers and you have 6? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, do you have siblings?
1 brother.
One brother?
Younger, yeah.
Yeah, you got to pick those numbers up. Probably past time for that. But Moty, what first got you into crypto? I'm just curious about what the beginning of your journey was like.
Actually, it was a friend of mine over. He'd always talk. I think it was 2016. It was an American guy. His name was Jordan Tweener. He was actually one of the first people to ever build a website. I think buybitcoin.com, something of that sort. And what he would do is he'd put up referrals on how to buy Bitcoin. Back in the day, it was definitely not straightforward. There was no app, or the websites that did exist didn't have banking systems. So it was either the black market or the rare Gemini or some of the other platforms, and they didn't onboard everyone. And he'd always talk about how banks were scamming. Oh, the banks are scams. They're scams. They're stealing your money. Buy a bit of Bitcoin. Trust me. So I didn't buy it, but I just hovered. Though I just looked at the price a couple of times. Forgot about it. Next thing you know, it jumped from like $500 to 1,200. My eyes were like, what? There's so much profit to be made. Got hooked early on.
Nice. Well, hey, that was a good time to get hooked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's also kind of crazy now because I'll see the price of Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin today, what is it? It fell,
110, I think,
roughly
right?
112 to like 109, but $3,000. I remember when Bitcoin was $3,000. It's crazy to see, like, once you spend a lot of time in this market, just like how crazy these moves are. And now you'll look and it's like, oh, that was a 8% move in Bitcoin or a 10% move in Bitcoin. And it's 2 times the amount that it was worth when I was like first paying attention to the space. It's crazy how time goes by, man.
Yeah, I think especially people who come from that time are really immune to these price swings. In fact, for us, it's just natural at this stage. Back then, it was real chaos. I mean, you were thinking, is it going to 0 or is there another leg or is there another season? At this stage, we all know, here to stay. The question is, how long will the dip last? And that's all.
Yeah, we character. We all got rugged in that at that time. Just now our character. Just went through it all. We're good. Just bring it.
Mm-hmm.
But don't do that again. No, don't do that.
Yeah. And then Moty, when did you go from, and it might seem like the answer here is your brother may have gotten you involved in it, but when did you go from, super focused on trading to then, hey, let's create this DeFi solution on Solana called DefiTuna? How'd you get to there?
I was primarily trading on BitMEX. I think come 2020, when liquidity was drying up slowly on BitMEX, and there was something I noticed, as any user on BitMEX, sometimes you go through the top 10 by PNL. And what they'd have is some of the users that have like random names assigned, but one of them was Alameda. And actually, they publicly were top 10, holding the top 3 space for quite a long time. And I always thought, why would they show their name? Because it's something that they started doing just in 2020. And then I think 3 months in, they started releasing a lot of YouTube videos. And then very quickly, they announced an exchange called FTX. I think everybody knows it today what FTX is. Mm-hmm. But, early on being a trader and knowing that, these guys were very nuanced, it was very easy to be bullish on them. They released the token FTT. And alongside that, they also sort of acquired Solana in a very big capacity. Read the white paper of Solana with my brother. I sent it to him. That was when he decided to jump on board. He didn't want anything to do with Ethereum or Bitcoin, but when he read the white paper of Solana, he said, Moty, this is the only thing that makes sense in Solana to build on top of. 2020 is when we started building on Solana together.
Mm-hmm. And so reading the white paper, I'm assuming it was the scalability, because at 2020, for anyone who's watching this and just wasn't there in the market, that was also the time where, DeFi was all the rage, NFT craze was popping off. People were paying gas fees. I paid gas fees to mint a picture on chain for $300 or $200 or $400. Now today's it's fractions of pennies thanks to layer 2s on ETH. Solana is great, and we have so many options out there that are affordable. I'm assuming at the time, though, your brother and yourself were looking at Solana saying, like, this is the only thing that makes sense to make anything scalable. Because at the time, layer 2s weren't really a thing.
Yeah, I think that this is the same play as when 2016 and 17 exchanges started popping off, ICOs and exchanges. And, I also participated in Binance ICO. It was a clear, easy call. All the other exchanges were largely incompetent. None of them really had the tooling you needed to do anything serious, remotely serious. And I think here it was a layer 1 play. So before we were struggling with just buying Bitcoins and how to trade them on a centralized exchange, when it was solved, then the question was, okay, on DeFi. And it was a very easy DeFi play. Mm-hmm. Or, we called it really layer 1. We really didn't say DeFi back then so much. It was just the infrastructure.
Curious. Back then, was there general consensus that Binance was like the one to be at that point around, what do you say, 2021? Oh, sorry, 2016. 2016. You said. Was it the what was the market like against essentially?
So it was actually very funny because there's not a lot of sophisticated players back in the day. You could run arbitrages between exchanges. It was so bad. You didn't have stop losses in a lot of the spot venues or even leveraged venues. You wouldn't even have very competent limit order structures. Spreads were insane. It was just all over the place. And, you're sitting there, you're thinking, 1,001 ways you could improve all of it, but, nobody really did it. And then Binance comes around. And they're the first ones. It was a clear, easy winner, just as Solana was back in 2020. To anyone who's got a fundamental vision and understanding of the tech, which is very important because price is always late. Even though something is fundamentally obvious, it's very, very lagging indicator, the price.
I appreciate that. It's almost like I'm looking forward to the time again when people do the space starts caring about value, like we just said, like the needs that were there of the space, and then like it becomes very clear. It's like, oh, hey, yeah, that one makes sense to invest in, right? Compared to today, which is there's no expectations of anything, anyone, anywhere, and it gets lost, right? So I'm looking forward to that day, hopefully coming back at one in the future. But thank you for that story.
I think that value is still there. It's just a lot.
It's there.
It's a lot noisier.
Like way down there. Like it's hidden. It's hidden.
A million meme coins floating around.
Yes.
I think generally what actually happened, this wasn't so much the case. What actually happened is Jupiter made it very, very popular. They were the first ones to. Were you guys around for the Jupiter airdrop?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So if you notice how Jupiter did their airdrop is that they first did like a meme fake airdrop of their Jupiter token, and they, sort of coined it us testing things, and they made a boatload of money on that. They saw that they did make a lot of money on a test pre-launch, and so they did another meme pre-launch, followed by another meme pre-launch, and only then they really max extracted, and then they did the official Jupiter token.
Jupiter, yeah.
And they learned that they can make a lot of money off of those things. And I think what happened is they justified all of it and somehow sold it to the general public. And since then, it was really since then and onwards where people were like, oh, well, before that, you would be called a scammer online and nobody would want to do any serious business with you as a VC, as anyone who's remotely serious. But they managed to frame it in a way whereby, hey, it's only a meme and it's a community, it's a good thing. There and then and onwards, people started making it more efficient. And that's when Pump Fun, they laid the groundwork for Pump Fun to come in. And there and onwards, it was just max extraction in a very efficient way where you have zero chances of winning against the house.
Dang, I hadn't thought about how the seed for Pump Fun could have been the Jupiter airdrop test. I hadn't thought about that. I usually for me, I just kind of looked at pump.fun as the prime extraction of value, but I hadn't thought about the next step behind that. So I appreciate that insight.
There's always somebody always lays the groundwork for the next thing. It's always been the case for every single technology or stack. And here, for sure, it was Jupiter's, I think, did the heavy lifting.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of the DeFi space in Solana, switching gears a little bit to talking about DefiTuna. So you and your brother the builder, you focusing on the trading side, the business side of things here. Talk to us about the idea for DefiTuna, because again, for those of you who are just tuning in, DefiTuna, DeFi solution on Solana that combines the ability for you to trade, lend, and borrow, as well as be a liquidity provider, all in one environment. So tell us a little bit about why this solution, any competitors in the space, and just like why you think it's a good product market fit at this time.
Well, first, maybe I'll touch up very quickly on why DeFi specifically. We've been in the space for a very long time. We worked with very big reputable companies, with Metaplex, with Star Atlas. They're the biggest Web3 game. They raised 100 million back in the day.
I have some spaceships.
Wonderful. So actually, my brother's still works there as a lead. He's got like a lead position there. Still very, very much involved there. He's partially with us at this stage. However, the NFT space died, and we're very heavy in the NFT space and the infrastructure side of things. And so naturally, we were very involved in DeFi. When you're watching the space and you see all these problems and you're thinking to yourself, well, how come these big guys haven't solved it really? And then when you really study it, you realize, well, because there's just not enough competition. And so if you guys are familiar with what is called a version 3 Uniswap, are you guys familiar with this?
Sure.
You put in your range, and that's where you're farming liquidity or providing liquidity. And there's really nothing else that you can do. And on the other side, you have people who just swap against you. And so there's a lot of problems there. And number one is if price falls, you will lose money. there is no way to hedge. Number two is, well, if it starts falling, how do you put a stop loss? And then, okay, well, are you actually profitable if you're farming liquidity on Orca, Radium, Uniswap? What is your P&L? What is your impermanent loss? So all these things that nobody's actually put forward. And we thought to ourselves, well, we have the best talent in the space. Why not just give it a go? And I self-funded it, and my brother was CTO. We put together a small, lean team, and we did the first sort of solution. All we did is we introduced leverage on top of Orca. Subsequently, letting users provide liquidity and be short all in one position. That was our first go-to market product.
And so what did it transform into from there?
So once we released it, imagine you want to farm liquidity or provide liquidity with $1,000. You go on DefiTuna, you can leverage it up to 5 times. Suddenly you're farming liquidity with $5,000. But also, hey, you can choose directional bias, means you can short or long. This is all great. But what about P&L? And so we started working on P&L. Now, mind you, all of it's still on top of Orca. So whenever you open through us, you open on an Orca pool. And we started moving really, really quickly. We came to a place where we were working so quickly that we were just being held up with what we felt like was Orca and their way they move and their decision making. I spoke with my team and I said, hey guys, what happens if Orca denies some of our requests? We've been asking for these technological upgrades and they're slow to move. We made a decision of making our own AMM, automated market maker. What Uniswap is an AMM, right? Version 3 AMM. Orca is an AMM. Are you guys familiar with Orca and Radium?
Yes.
So all of these are AMMs. We built our own. It's called Fusion AMM. We call it DefiTuna pools. If you go to our website, you will see that there are 2 different sections in that website on the landing page. There's a spot market, and then there's a provide liquidity. In Orca, Radium, or any other AMM website, there's just provide liquidity. There's no spot market. Why is that? We've introduced limit orders built into the AMM. So think of it this way. If you want to, there we go. Users can see it. So if you go to the spot market, you press on Solana USDC under pools. Yeah. On the right side, you see an order book. This is concentrated liquidity provider. So Doug, imagine you could put 2 price points, which, as you normally would, right, as a liquidity provider. And that gets put into the order book as a liquidity provider. And then you have other market participants who can come and put limit orders, buys and sells on the same book. And it all lives in one same order book.
Mm-hmm. So basically, it's almost like it's the segmentation of it gives it that that extra level of clarity. Maybe it's the best way to say it. Almost you could think of it that way.
Not only. So today, Doug, if you wanted to put a limit order on Orca, you wanted to buy Solana, you think it's going to dip really quickly, aggressively to $150. How would you do so?
I would just simply go to I actually have not used Orca, but I would assume go down, put my limit order in, $150, the total sold amount, just pop it in.
It's the year 2025, not Orca, not Radium, not Meteora, Uniswap has, none of them have limit orders. It doesn't exist.
I made that assumption based on, that was almost like an expectation, right? That having not been there, that's.
On Solana, no spot market has limit orders. Not a single one of them.
Not a single one?
No.
Huh.
What they have is they have Jupiter trigger orders. So all these service providers started popping up, and what they do is you put in your value that you want to buy or sell, and they monitor the price and then they say, okay, well, once the price is lower, they execute a swap for you. That's not a limit order. That's a sort of an arbitrage, I would call it. And sometimes it hits, sometimes actually, they don't execute because the server's too late to talk to the RPC. None of them have limit orders. We're the first ones to build. We call this tech not CLMM, we call it Fusion AMM. That's sort of like the name of it, but it's DefiTuna pools. It's categorized by this beautiful fish, Solana USDC. You see there's a logo of a fish. Yeah, there. So those are our pools. Now, if you wanted to provide liquidity to it, you can either set limit orders. By the way, they pay you rebates. They're paying orders. If you get filled, either buy or sell, you get paid. Or you can just go and if you press on provide liquidity, you can just provide liquidity to that same pool, and it will live in the same order book.
Okay. So this is obviously a really nice to have if you are a trader and you want to be able to set limit orders kind of directly in a spot market. You can do so on Jupiter, as you said, but it's not exactly the same thing. But something else I wanted to get your opinion on is this is a real nice to have for someone who's like a level 2 trader, right? They're on chain. They've gotten off the centralized exchanges and they're doing more than just dollar cost averaging and hopefully selling when you're in profit, but setting limit orders and the likes. In the areas of being a liquidity provider as well, you mentioned kind of being able to have a P&L also, but what are some of the kind of niceties that you've provided for liquidity providers as well?
Yeah, so historically, again, so if you go to any of the other platforms, a couple things are missing. Obviously, the P&L, as said, but also it's very hard to guess what will be your price, your profit, future profit. So if you put in any value in the collateral side, on the left side, just put in anything. You see on a calculator on top, the top graph, and if you just put your mouse over different price points on the graph, you see exactly how much you will lose if price falls, or how much you will gain if price goes up.
I see. So price goes up to 190. We have gained almost 1,000 USDC. Interesting. Cool.
So this is really, really useful. You also have the thing called time in range, which is slightly above the upper graph.
Oh, slightly above.
On the left side. Yeah. Play around with it. So it shows you that the longer you spend, the more you'll be in profit, even if price goes against you.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
We also give you the ability to put stop loss or take profit. It's labeled as limit orders on the left side. That's right. And you can put lower limit order or upper limit order. So basically you can say, well, I'm going to go to sleep. The markets look kind of weak. You know what? If it goes to, say 165, close my position and actually convert it to USDC. So you'd put the LL, lower limit order, basically. You'd put in 165, just for the sake of it. And press USDC, it's already selected. And like that, there and then you will be safe.
Gotcha.
Auto compounding, so that means as you generate yield, it compounds into the position, also exists. It's on the left side. You can turn that on. It'll compound automatically. So super well thought out platform for liquidity providers.
Okay, very nice. Now, one thing I want to talk about as well, because I only have so much more time, is the system. I kind of looked at it as like a 3-pronged system that helps to drive success and TVL and adoption and strength for DefiTuna. And what that is the more trading fees there are, those trading fees are then provided to liquidity providers. That then they then want to be able to get leverage, and so they go to lenders to borrow that money and leverage, and to get that to be able to use that. That then means that there's more trading on DefiTuna, which means more trading fees, which means more money for liquidity providers, which means they can borrow more and then get more leverage. And it's this self-fulfilling system that hopefully, if you really just kind of focus on even just growing one area, it's going to help grow the other areas. And adoption for DefiTuna should grow, and its TVL should grow, and all that good stuff, right? There's also the flip side of that too, and the potential risk that I see, and I'd like to get your input on this and how you can prevent that, because it's a double-edged sword, right? Where if you have trading fees start to go down, or the amount of lenders available go down, or liquidity providers go down, because they're all reliant on each other, it can kind of go the other way also, and it can help to drive shrinkage of usage for DefiTuna, or a lack of growth. So can you talk about this system? Is this a risk on like high risk, high reward system you've designed? Are there any safeguards to help maintain the health of DefiTuna so that it can continue onwards, even when times and markets get rough and people may leave and walk away from, doing more DeFi related activities?
So the way I would see it is this: the biggest driver is the on-chain activity. The larger the activity is on-chain, the more swaps are happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
The more swaps are happening, the more revenue there is. So there's a very simple formula that sort of you can tell whether it makes sense to use leverage as a liquidity provider or not. So it's sort of like the amount of fees for the TVL. And if the amount of fees for the TVL is much, much larger than what you would pay for that leverage, it's a no-brainer. And you're just gonna pay basically 3 to 4x your fees for practically free, you could say. And as long as the DeFi space grows in activity, this makes using DefiTuna more and more a no-brainer.
Right.
But this is on the leverage side, which used to be our entire product. However, the first thing that I showed you with the limit orders and the whole idea of the liquidity on a order book, that has never existed in Solana. We are live around 3 weeks, and we have managed to gain we only have 3 pools. We are 4th by volume on Solana as a DEX. We did $350 million in volume today. So that's very, very impressive. I think even without the leverage aspect, today it makes absolutely no sense for anyone to not launch anywhere else but DefiTuna with this current AMM design. It's just too powerful, it's too useful. And I think that this will be the biggest revenue generator. And maybe Doug, it will resonate with you. So what we're going to be doing also is building leverage spot. So you could directly go 10x short or long, or 5x or 7x on top of this order book. So you have this system whereby you have liquidity providers and their liquidity goes on an order book. Then you have the retail limit orders. They also rest on this order book. Once you have this rich liquidity all on a single order book, you can apply leverage and have people generate even more volume on that order book. Does that make sense?
It does. It's interesting because actually, I haven't dealt with liquidity pools since probably 2022, 2021. But now, as you're talking through it, I really want to understand that perspective too, because that now it's intriguing to me on just it's very, very similar concept, right? But it's just in a different capacity. But what you're saying makes complete sense. And by the way, too, back on the visual, the UI, I'm really a sucker for like the visualizations that move. I'm really giving perspective of changes that you're making, because I'm doing that in my head as I'm using leverage, whatever it may be, on a normal exchange. But that visual aid, almost like I am calculating it, but seeing it, it makes a lot more sense, and it should be easier to manage, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I understand that this will be the no-brainer situation for DefiTuna makes total sense. Well, while activity particularly in Solana's ecosystem and DeFi ecosystem, is healthy and strong and doing well, right? But if I don't think there's about to be a gigantic bear market, but things are obviously red right now. But let's just say a bear market were to happen right now, or 3 weeks from now, or 5 weeks from now. How would you maintain and ensure that DefiTuna, remains healthy and attractive? Because if TVL on Solana were to drop and liquidity on Solana were to drop, just because people walked away from the ecosystem, like if this was the traditional 4-year cycle, people walked away for a year, in this system, how would you maintain DefiTuna being, number 4 for volume on Solana, or number 3 or number 2 or number 1 one day, right?
Historically speaking, so again, I think we should always go back to fundamentals. If fundamentally we are the best in terms of infrastructure, in terms of what we provide, essentially we should maintain or be at the top. Now, again, I say price is a lagging indicator. Today, nuanced users or people who trade, this makes sense to them. They're like, oh, liquidity provision really is like being a market maker on an order book.
Yeah,
so this makes sense. And it's very easy bet. Today, it's by far the best AMM. But however, integrations are still slow, and by the time they come and more user base comes through those integrations, it takes time. So that's why I say price is lagging indicator. But also during bear markets, even exchanges go through a large firing spree, not for no reason, because at the end of the day, activity is key and king. It's like people say cash is king when there's blood in the streets, right? And the same will be in this case. Unfortunately, the driving or the driver and the revenue is king. And once that goes stale, the entire ecosystem goes stale. So I don't think that there's a way to, I think it's even better the faster we embrace that, the easier it'll be for us as a project. It's something you cannot go against the market. The best thing you can do is just make sure you have a runway, make sure you're just up to date with the latest standards, and you have enough to feed the team.
Yeah, I'd say if you build a product in the space that has features, functionality that isn't currently being provided in the market, even if things were to dip right now when things came back, if you are still providing the nicest features for liquidity providers, good ability to set limit orders in spot markets for traders that currently doesn't exist, like there's product market fit and volume should, like your chunk of the market share for Solana DeFi should increase in that sense, right? Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, just sort of thinking, if you think about it, we're supposed to have a very well laid foundation if that happens for people to come back to, if that makes sense.
Yep, no, of course. I wanted to go to field a few questions that we had here. One of which from Bearded over on YouTube is, has DefiTuna gone through third-party audits or planned to do that?
We went through 4 different audits, very extensive. We have 2 auditors, Sec3. They are our investors and auditors. They're one of the biggest in the space, and one more, O-Shield, and they've done already 4 audits on us. Okay,
well, hey, that's a lot better than some. It's nice to actually have audited solutions in this space.
I love it. It's great. It's great. I feel like it's 2020 again. It's like
and then another not conversation here, but another question from Conversations with Evan, one of the co-hosts here, is what is the story behind the name DefiTuna?
I was gonna ask it. Nice.
I always thought, the people that are providing liquidity, it's like, you're throwing breadcrumbs and all of them are trying to max extract this breadcrumb. And the way I see it is like the fees is what motivates people and they're all fighting for the fees. And it just clicked in my head. I thought we're all like, tunas in a tank fighting for that piece of bread that's being thrown. So I thought, DefiTuna, why not? There's a mascot, Sushi Swap, there's Uniswap with a unicorn, there's a Pancake Swap, so why not DefiTuna? It just, who doesn't know what tuna is? And it just seems catchy.
No, it definitely fits, particularly with the whales in the space as well. Tuna, another big fish, and you can go and be a liquidity provider, be a tuna. No, I like it. And Moty, for people who want to stay in touch with the developments of DefiTuna, what's the best place to go to follow?
Twitter or Discord, the official channels.
Okay, and let me show everybody here the DefiTuna page for everybody on TikTok as well. If you want to follow over on Twitter, it is at DefiTuna to follow and stay up to date on the project. Moty, for anybody who is looking to get started kind of exploring DefiTuna, other than following Twitter, what's the best way that you would recommend someone new to DefiTuna to kind of start using the platform and get used to it? Kind of get a feel for it.
What I'd say is, don't go there and provide liquidity. What I would say is just go into the platform, just as Will did it, William. He opened up the Solana USDC pair, put in a few limit orders, draw out your analysis of the market, choose a price point where you want to buy or sell with a limit order, and try it out. Small size, see how it executes, how it feels. If you've got any questions, ask. Start with small size. If you feel comfortable, you can always grow your size, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. I think it's a good opinion, or not a good opinion, but good advice to say anybody in DeFi, if you're trying out something new in particular, do it with a small sum of money, get a feel for the space. It's the same kind of advice we give people who always come to us with the question of what crypto do I buy? I'm new to crypto. Am I late? And we go buy USDC. Buy USDC, put it in a wallet, get used to opening up a wallet with your seed phrase, maybe take it over to a simple lending pool, go make a couple swaps on a decentralized exchange or in your wallet, get used to using it with a very small amount safe money, and then take a little bit of time and figure out what you should buy.
Just a quick question to you guys. Do you guys ever get a question, what meme coin should a user buy? Have you ever gotten that?
I mean, a few hundred times a day.
I mean,
what is the right answer?
10 times before I got on this stream,
the right answer for what meme coin you should buy.
Yeah.
I would say I would give you two different answers. I would say if you are looking for a trade right now in this current market, probably PENGU. If you are looking to just have a little bit of history and to add a little nice badge onto your on-chain resume, go buy Doge. Go buy a little bit of Doge, the first ever, and add the OG meme coin into your wallet, even if it's just $5. It's just nice to have. That'd be what I'd say. Doug, what about you?
I have a lot of questions first. I can't just recommend. I got thousands in my head.
I'm surprised you're not saying Clippy, and
no, Clippy's its own thing. Clippy's its own thing. We gotta respect the Clippy. Monty, you asking just because you're curious in general, how have you?
How do you guys approach this question?
Okay, how do you approach the question? I mean, so it's almost like I would go default on what are your, my general response is, what are your goals? What do you want to do?
Make money.
Yeah. Okay. So if that's what it is. So my general advice is assume you're gonna lose everything, right? Basically, so go into it with that mindset, and you're like, okay, anything else is better than my expectations. And I usually say lose small and win big. So whatever your small little pocket is that you're going to lose, right? Take a portion of that and throw it in whatever now go to Will's suggestions. Would also agree with those. On a more, you could do a little mini portfolio, portion into those large caps, and then you could hang out in the trenches and play whatever trend pops up during Twitter for that day, and throw a small portion of that remaining capital at it. And again, assume it goes to zero. If it doesn't, wait for it to go up. Take your initials out and just enjoy the vibe. That's basically that's kind of how I go about it. But assume you're gonna lose. That's it.
It's interesting. The way William approached it is very different from yours. You sort of touched up on the mentality and you leave the person hungry because you never really answered what the $1 million coin is. Whereas William went and said, hey, listen, here's my play. A PENGU. But hey, for the memes, you can buy the old school one. So
that's the proper answer, because his answer is like that's the highest probability of having some success in that space with doing very little effort. But that's
I've done the total opposite with meme coins too. Like I made the most money with memes where it was 2023 and I was like, fine, meme coins aren't trash, like they're hot, fine. So I just took like a chunk of money and divided it up into 10, and I was like, well, Solana's hot and Base is hot, so I'm gonna buy 10 random meme coins on Solana and 10 random meme coins on Base. And I got Popcat really early, and it gave me a 127x. So I was like, hey, and then I had two other ones that gave me like a 2x, one that gave me a 60%, and then the other ones went to zero like immediately after I bought them. So, that's one way too. But if anyone comes at me super hard where it's like, I just want a meme coin, I'll be like, all right, man, if you want a meme coin to make the most amount of money, I'll give you my opinion on it. But if people come to me and they ask like, hey, what cryptos do I buy? My first question is, why? Why do you want to buy crypto? And then, what are your financial goals here? And then if it's just like, well, I want to make money for retirement, I go, we're not buying meme coins. We're not buying meme coins. You're going to buy some Bitcoin, some Solana, some Ethereum, and you're probably fine. Also, do you even want to do spot trading, or do you want to do an ETF? How responsible do you feel like you are remembering this? No, I think you should go give BlackRock a call. I think you should just go get the Bitcoin ETF. Yeah, it depends, right? It depends on the setting. But Moty, if someone like you came to me, what meme coin is it? I'd be like, I bought some PENGU today. Probably going to buy some PENGU tomorrow morning.
It's fun. Actually, Monty, can I ask your opinion on something? I'm curious. Is there a market in your advice in your experience of like a meme coin index, but an actually properly managed meme coin index for someone that wants exposure, but doesn't want to deal with all the nonsense, but understands the risk that's there? I was having this conversation the other day with someone. I was just thinking about it because I know it probably exists in some capacity, but again, assume it goes to zero, but it's just something, for some exposure. Random question.
I'm sure it exists, but you know what? This is like the bottom of the barrel, the worst of the worst, an index of the. And what's really interesting, Doug. So usually I really size my bets on meme coins that I think are like backed by at least some intellectual property. That's
good.
But what's interesting, what William said, that he threw in too many coins. I thought about it, Doug. There's an old story that is pretty public with Sol Big Brain. Do you know Sol Big Brain, guys? The gentleman. So he bought Solana OTC, I believe, at 45 cents, something of that sort. Held it all the way to 200 and something bucks. Can you imagine, like, the guy was sitting on like unrealized P&L of from 200K or 400K investment to 10 million, and he says no to it. It goes to 20, he's like no. Goes to 50, he's like no. Then it gets to like 100, 200 million, he's like, okay, I'm gonna take profit. And like, what kind of mentality do you need to have in order to write that kind of P&L all along? And then like that just played into my head as Will was saying, that like some of his meme coins went to zero, some of it was 2x, and another one was 130x. And like the question is like, well, how do you manage your take profit from these things?
Yeah, well, with the meme coin one, it was money that I was totally fine just seeing poof, go away and turn to zero. So I also at the time was looking at 2023, and in my head, I'm like, okay, cycle should start heating up. We have some mentionings of ETFs. I think Bitcoin's going to be ripping. I think it'll be a popular ETF product. And I'm waiting. At the time, I was still waiting for like a real altcoin season at the time. My thoughts on altcoin season, my thoughts on the Bitcoin 4-year cycle are a little different now. But at the time, I was just like, okay, I'm just going to kind of wait and see how things went. And at the time, I also found, Aerodrome early with a larger position. I was fortunate with that. I made good money on Render in 2023 as well. Had a few losses, but had more wins than losses. And along the way, was taking profits on those positions. And then all of a sudden, I was like, oh yeah, what happened about that gambling money I just went to go? And I went to go take a look, and I was like, oh wait, everyone's talking about Popcat. Wasn't that one of the, oh my God. I was like, oh my God. And I was like, actually, it was at about like 160%. And the greed took me, and I was like, oh, I shouldn't sell this at all. And then it went down to 127x. And I was like, I should sell everything immediately. I'm crazy. And I hit the sell button. So, that was it. So for that meme coin experiment, it was money I just kind of like threw out to gamble and wasn't really paying attention to it at all.
So then you just opened it up and you compared it all and you sold pretty much everything at the same time.
Yeah, I did.
Some of it was 2x, some of it was 130x.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Would you? Yeah.
The positions that were losses, I just cleared those out as well. So I was like, at least there's like a little tax loss harvesting here.
So you would say the only reason you managed to hold on to the 130x is because you didn't see the thing going from
Otherwise, I wasn't really paying attention to it because it was money I was fine going to zero, and I just thought like, I'll check this like once a quarter, basically, was my thought process. And I was managing more of my other big money, riskier positions.
What about Doug?
I have
did you ever hold this?
17 answers to that question. And kidding aside, I use multiple different strategies and different apps because I'm more intrigued in the progression of the apps as the space evolves with the meme coin space, whatever it may be, and just seeing where the stop losses are now coming into the applications, but at the same time still having a wallet that's more like a more position type trade where I'll use like a Jupiter or a Phantom, but Axiom like in the trenches. So it's kind of more of a balancing act altogether. And now there are the tools and layers that sit on top of them. And the whole thing to me is just very interesting because the tech in that space is also evolving very quickly. Although I wish those efforts would be done on applications that are, for the better in general of art. But it's moving fast. There's a lot. So I don't have one method. I have multiple, but it seems to be working out. So let's say that.
Mm-hmm. And Moty, how about yourself?
Yeah, I think that it comes very clear to me whenever I have a fundamental play. So, for example, with Solana, it's something that you wait for. It's not a price you're waiting for. It's some sort of a development, some sort of adoption. And so with those, when you size your bets, you don't really look at prices to take profit on. You look at events. With meme coins, it's drastically different. With meme coins, you need to have an exit strategy. Otherwise, you're going to get cooked on the longer term, unless you have insider information, which, it's like very, very unfair. And you got lucky. With other tokens that are evolved and they're not here nor there, very technical. So like I would pull out my technical analysis. I'd be very, very rigorous about how I enter. I already have a plan to exit, where my stop losses are. It would be a purely technical play. So whether it's that I'm coming as an investor or with a mentality of an investor, or if I'm coming in as a trader, those are completely two different worlds. And I separate them very, very finely in my mind when I enter the position. So that's how I look at it.
I think that makes total sense. And I think there's a big problem with the majority of investors in crypto where they look at every crypto as an investment because they think like, oh, but this is like getting into Bitcoin early. This is like getting into Ethereum early. This is like getting into Solana early. And it's like poo poo pee pee buttcoin. And it's just like, no, that's just maybe there's a technical pattern you can play and you get out, right? It's very technical there. But for something like Solana or an Ethereum or maybe even a Chainlink or Bitcoin, and again, a few other arguments here for other coins as well, where you can invest in some. For me, investing in crypto is really just Bitcoin and then probably Ethereum and probably Solana. And then everything else past that, it's really just kind of technical setups for me. And those are the coins, in my opinion, that are kind of in that air. And Moty, one more question I wanted to ask you is, with institutional adoption around the corner, and this is a question about DeFi, do financial institutions continue to do things the way they are, or do they incorporate Web3 and DeFi in some way and kind of bridge that gap? And there's some hybrid future we have where BlackRock and Fidelity and Vanguard are on Web3 as well.
Certainly.
The tokenization of real world assets and the tokenization of stocks, like using lending protocols and things of that nature.
There were big gaming studios back in the during the NFT craze where, you can't have a big gaming company to start developing like Ubisoft, they wouldn't touch NFTs. What they would do is they'd have their smaller companies branching out that would acquire or build out NFT games. I think it's the same with BlackRock and some of the other giants. While they most likely won't directly go and touch on-chain stuff, I think what they will do is through their subsidiaries, they will have their tentacles in those places 100%. Already today, we're seeing a lot of market makers that would only sit on centralized exchanges, miss out on huge sizes of arbitrage or just volume just by not participating in DeFi. I'm aware of 3 very big market makers in this space that are losing chunks and chunks of money, and they are forced to move to DeFi. With a lot of players, there was a very interesting story with the white whale, the gentleman we both got connected through. He was saying Mexi blocked his funds. This is just one story. I've heard so many, and we sort of slowly are gravitating the world towards the DeFi space. We've never had so much volume and so much good infrastructure on chain to support that volume. It's only going to be more. And the question is, if BlackRock doesn't go there, it will lose a lot of value. And so it'll have to. Just like it didn't touch Bitcoin to a point where it could no longer ignore it. I think it may not do it directly, but through subsidiaries, if that makes sense.
No, I think that totally makes sense. And you're right. That's very much so the same strategy with a company like in Ubisoft, who, by the way, everybody has their first Web3 game coming out. Let's see, I think you can get it on the pre-sale. I have it unmarked on my calendar. It's in like 12 or 11 days. It's Might and Magic Fates, I believe. It's the card game. It's on Immutable X. But yeah, so I have my eyes on that because I want to give that a shot.
So prior to that, they would only touch it through indirect investments, and they were active in the space. That's very interesting. Yeah, and that's sort of the way it always works.
Yep, yeah, I think that's spot on. I appreciate the insights as well. Moty, it's been great having you on. Do you have any final words for our audience? Anything you'd like to share? Anything upcoming for DefiTuna?
I definitely recommend for everybody here in the audience to just stay curious. There's a lot of money to be made staying curious, and in general, it's a very interesting space. I would recommend to do it slowly, step by step. You hear these crazy stories of people becoming instantly very, very rich. Most times it doesn't work this way. And for those who are lucky enough, they will lose it as fast as they gained it. Take it step by step. It's a very fascinating space. Will, Doug, really appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, of course, man. You're welcome on again, and appreciate your thoughts and thought leadership in the space. Now, let me make sure. I'm hoping I had to reset my entire soundboard, so I hope this is the round of applause. No, dang it. There it is. So thank you, Moty. And at the same time, I just lost my light. All right. Well, Doug, how's it going, man? That was pretty cool.
It was good. No, yeah, I have I need to go do my research now because I'm curious. It's been a while since I've looked into that point of view from the other side of the trade, essentially. So
yeah, I need to. I'm gonna go play around with DefiTuna a little bit. Kind of like what he said. I'm gonna go try to do a few swaps, a few little trades there as well, and then I'll play around. I'll do the liquidity provision as well. I'll play around with the whole system, get a feel for it. But that was cool. But hey, guys, let's do a little quick transition here before we pull up some charts and stuff. I think it's time for a quick little commercial. Again, if you guys want to learn more about DefiTuna and stay up to date with everything there, head on over to their Twitter page, which is at DefiTuna. Also, if you are in the Circle community, great. If you're not in our Circle community, what are you doing? Come on in. It's free to join. You can click the link on my profile page on TikTok or go to RUMS HQ, RUMS HQ, Rise Up Morning Show headquarters.com. Click the link, hop into the community. We have a DeFi-centered, chat and just kind of like Web3 chat focus there, where we have people exploring and sharing their experience using Web3 solutions. And also, if you are curious about getting to hopping on the Web3 space and building also maybe something like a DefiTuna or being on that front leading edge as well, we do also have communities trying to find people jobs in the crypto space, as well as networks to communicate and connect you with other builders in the space to share what you're working on and also potentially even collaborate. So head on over to the Rise Up community. Again, links on my profile page or rumshq.com. Now, markets, well, they're bleeding a lot. And while we were chatting with Moty there was a few times where alarms were going on.
Same. Same.
It was that ringing bell sound on trading. It was like, ding, 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 ding. And I was like, oh God, no, I set those so far down.
Yep.
So let's take a look. Let's take a look at the blood that we have here for Bitcoin right now. So Bitcoin right now is at $109,073. It is beginning to break the bottom line of support in the channel it has been in since July 25th. And let me share with everybody here on TikTok as well so you can see what I'm looking at. Oh, it'd be helpful if I hit the right button, wouldn't it? So here we go. Let me clean this up. Just 1 second. Everyone on YouTube is like, come on, man. We can already see what you're looking at. So this channel here, we are starting to get a bearish break out of it. However, we are holding this as of right now. If we swap on over to the weekly chart, this is an interesting place for potential support because you have 21-week exponential moving right here that is sitting at $107,645, but it also happens to be the top lines of these areas of previous consolidation as well. So there's a lot of potential support here for Bitcoin. Oh, thank you, Doug. I appreciate you.
My bad.
All good, dude. And also the weekly chart, stochastic RSI, starting to get into oversold territory, but it's not there quite yet. This is the potential general area of support, but if I were to chart this a little bit like Doug, I would say, hey, we have this entire range of support based on this consolidation zone and this consolidation zone where price could find support anywhere in here. Bitcoin could break the 21-week exponential moving average and head to the 55-week exponential moving average in this instance. I don't necessarily think that's likely. I'll tell you why. I'm getting more alerts. I gotta turn this off. But anyway, like I've seen some people on Twitter and some traders who I've followed for a long time be like, "Oh, it's over," and I'm just looking at this and I'm like, "I think that's way too soon of a call."
Stop following them. Sorry.
Stop following. I'm like, "What are you talking about, dude? Like, you're crazy." Granted, this person is also diagnosed bipolar, so whatever. They have moments of greatness and moments not. But I was just like, "What are you talking about? Like, there's so much support that we're sitting on here." That's what I see. Even if we dip down further, there's such a crazy amount of support here. While the weekly chart stochastic RSI gets into oversold territory, that could be a sweet, juicy buy opportunity. But Doug, what are you seeing on the chart?
So it's funny. Usually at these times, like when there is their price did, we have a pullback here, semi-correction almost. So at this time, I usually go to people like a trader. Trader Main. You know the name Trader Main? Yeah. He's very into order blocks, right? Mm-hmm. And it's usually something like that where it's like at this time, like, okay, like I can identify exactly where you're looking there at too, right? Like kind of like the below 100, even like the high 90s that's there. Even there's the block he was looking at too. I think was almost a monthly order block, whatever it was. There's a bigger area there that to give us support essentially, right? If the conversations later could happen if that doesn't hold, but as of right now, that's the focus point, and you just kind of go with it, right? That's it. Yeah.
The other thing that's also that I'm looking a lot at are the liquidity heat maps here. It needs to reload for a second. But when I look at the liquidity heat maps on the 3-month time frame, what Bitcoin's going to do seems to be pretty clear. And it's been pretty amazing as I've been paying more attention to the liquidity heat map over on Binance, which you can do on CoinGlass, is just how accurate it is at showing where price is going to go in the future. And so what we're looking at here is the liquidity heat map on the 3-month time frame. If this is brand new to you, it shows you where the most amount of liquidity is on Bitcoin's chart over on Binance, which is the largest perpetuals exchange, centralized exchange in crypto. And it shows you where market makers make the most amount of money. It shows you where the centralized exchanges make the most amount of money. It shows you where the whales also make the most amount of money. But really just think about this as market makers. And it's where the most amount of liquidations happen. And right now, the most amount of liquidations happen at $106,808. In fact, it's liquidations to the tune of $320 million, right? This very, very bright batch here. Now, once this gets grabbed, that's gone, right? And there is another decent sized batch here at 105,000 worth $223 million. So maybe we can go down as far as 105,000, but then there's no more liquidity for the market to grab. The market is no longer financially incentivized to go lower. The next biggest batch of liquidity is back up at $120,000 worth $281 million. And then you have another batch here for worth $200 million at 123,000, and then another big batch of liquidity worth $206 million at $125,000. And as price goes down to grab this batch of liquidity here, this big batch at 106.6, these liquidity levels will get bigger and bigger and bigger. So the market makers are going to come down here. They really don't have much incentive to drive the market further past really $104.5 thousand. And then they'll start driving the market back upwards to liquidate all of the crazy shorts that everyone's going to set, because there are already a decent amount of shorts set. And then they'll come up here and they'll make, millions and millions and millions of dollars. And that's how the market has been bouncing. You can see it here in the past. Market over here, the most amount of liquidity was down at 107,000. Market went down and grabbed that. Then there was a lot of liquidity up here at 111,000. It came up and it grabbed that. Then we kind of fluctuated upwards for a bit. Market settled and consolidated for a bit. The most amount of liquidity then sat at $150,000. We came and grabbed that. Then we came and grabbed this. We came and grabbed this, and then this. And it's dictating where market goes almost perfectly. And that's why I look at it and I go, okay, cool. We could fall down to $105,000. And then the market makers and the people with the money that actually get to dictate where the market goes, because they have the amount of money to do that, will say, time to go to 125,000. And that's like, when I look at that and then I see us finding support in those major consolidation chunks, I go, okay, cool. I'll just keep dollar cost averaging in for this week, as we get maybe some good or bad data from NVIDIA, from the jobs report on Thursday, and also from PCE inflation data on Friday.
It's like don't overcomplicate it. And I don't even want to do a chart because there's no, to your point, it's very straightforward. It's almost like I can build a scenario, I can build a hypothesis on either direction. I can build a case either direction, but more so just technically looking at it. I say the other direction is more down is more because of other macro factors. However, from a technical standpoint, as you spoke, don't overcomplicate it, right? That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I saw in the chart, and not on the chart, but over on the TikTok chat, that gold is apparently flying. Doug, do you want to pull up the gold chart? I know
we were looking at gold last time we were on here, if I recall correctly.
Always look up gold. And you know what? For shits and gigs, we should look up cattle also.
That's right. We should do that. We also look at coffee. You know what we should do? So I did this previously. It's kind of hard to keep track of it, but to look at essentially all of the. Right in the screen here. I'll just have to watch the window. Let's just do the window. My bad. Excuse me. To do a quick look back, pick one from the prior week I want to look at, and we'll revisit it because some of them are. Here we go. I'm sorry. There we go. Good.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
Okay. That's not.
Can you get it over on the folks for TikTok? Or do you want me to screen share my phone?
Oh yeah, good point. Forgot about that. Let's do this. Swap.
Also, like Amsfar on TikTok goes, "What about coffee?" And Lee goes, "Coffee is cooked."
That's nice. See, that's where we got coffee last time.
Like,
I gotta get this light better here. Excuse me. Okay, fine. All right, so we'll move this over here. Do this up here. Oh, here we go. There it is. There you go. All right, sorry. Okay. The price. Why did it flip back? Killing me, Smalls. I am so sorry. I am just all right. Cool.
Just seen the technical difficulties I was having just trying to get my camera to turn on.
Yeah, just everyone close your eyes. Close your eyes. Just don't get sick. Yeah, that was. Yeah, tonight's the night, right? It's Monday. It's case the Mondays. All right, so I just want to hide this. So gold is kind of coming out of this arc that I'm kind of seeing here. We're kind of looking over the top, and usually at something like this, when I see this arc where it's just the highs kind of peaked over here outside of the initial move to the left all the way up here. Yeah, 3,400. After that's almost like every high was lower. Every low was lower, excuse me, from the previous, almost like this is the bow. And usually at this point right here, it's where it's like, and I remember a chart, I'm trying to think exactly what it was. I want to say it was injective protocol in 2023. So so it's almost like where you feel like it's like, oh, it's obvious going to do this. And then right around the what's called a fourth quadrant of an arc, if that's even a thing, and I'm making it up right now, is where this inflection point is. And then this is where you see this or this breakdown. However, more times than not, I believe this is the scenario that will happen.
Really, more times than not in that arc, it will break to the upside, because I'm looking at that as lower highs, and you have you have two higher lows there. So,
if I really zoom in, then all of a sudden now it's a different story, right? So it's even like more confirmation of just like this breakdown here, like is beautiful. This pullback right here, tapped into this demand over here, right? Bounced. And to me, the most important candle of this whole entire, and I'm on a 8-hour chart. Don't ask, just looks fine for right now. This candle right here
converted me to using the 8-hour chart.
Did I? Nice.
Now, yeah, nice. I've been messing with it over the past like month, and I'm just like, God damn it, Doug. And I just started looking at the 8-hour because it was there, and then I started looking at more, and I was like, wait, I like the 8-hour more than the 4-hour now. I do.
It's almost like, because I like I told you 12 is my favorite. 12 hours like my favorite because it's like the 2 sets of the day, but then there's like 4 is the next go-to, but I need the break. I need something that gives me kind of that in-between zone. And not that you want to flip back and forth, because that's very easy to be like, oh, I'm using this chart and that's going to be my no. It's good to understand all the perspectives. But to your point, like here, just this move up after losing this, was it 33, 35? After losing this and this very strong candle up, and then this, like what's this, 8 hours, like a day and a half, 2 days here of that sideways price action. This looks very attractive to me. Now I don't love the current 8-hour candle, but let's just look at the 12-hour. Looks like it's a rocket.
No, but I mean that current candle that, let's see, what time frame are you on right now? You're on the daily. You have 19 hours to go before that daily candle closes, right? So there's a long time to go.
Oh yeah, 100%. I will point out this last thing too. I'm a fan of the 50 RSI. Like I don't use indicators that much, but I love when essentially we are above the 50, either retesting on multiple time frames, or it's almost like holding a similar structure to what the chart is up here. And like every time this looks. I used to have a chart a long time ago, or a screen that had like the 12. I had RSIs on every time frame for a market, but didn't have the chart up, and we just watch the progression of the RSI change on lower time frames, and as it leads it up, it almost kind of gives you like a picture of where it's going to go. A long time ago, but yeah, this looks nice. Gold looks nice.
And we'll see if it you would need to maintain that breakout above that arc.
Correct.
For me to be, hey, gold good.
Like up here, right? So you have to basically hang out even more so. Like that's the first level, then up here is your other one. So if you're even here for a little squiggle here, even here for a couple days, fine. Even down here, okay. This, like that would be very, very bullish to me. If there is more momentum up here, then this consolidation may pull back here. Like that to me is like beautiful if it does that. But to your point, like anything down here below 33, 34, nah, I would not be bullish.
Now, Doug, the question becomes, if gold has a breakout here, isn't that a good thing for Bitcoin? Bitcoin's digital gold. I'm in the inversely. That's different charts.
I got it. I got that chart. If you want to look at it, by the way, I got the gold. Gold. Where is it here?
What I want to do is instead of going with the Bitcoin to gold chart. Oh wow, that's
ooh. All right. This was I drew this. What May? I drew this. Wow, that's just a while ago. Okay, so this kind of looks like that. This is super interesting from this perspective. I'm not just don't shoot the messenger here, but like I'm seeing this.
Yeah.
Like that's what I see. But just at a glance, right? Otherwise, if the best case here then is almost like it does come down further. Not these levels mean anything to anyone, the price, but like this, and then it immediately corrects itself, gets back above here, and shows strength, and almost like invalidates that. But as of right now, I would have to think it's probably gonna pull back a little further here.
Set up a double bottom. The bearish things I see there is you have the high, the two big wicks on top, with the second wick being a higher high that's barely a higher high, then you have several thick-bodied candles right afterwards.
Yep.
That's typically not a good sign.
Did you know, before I forget, did you know you can create math formulas on TradingView?
No.
I did not know it. So like I started, and my shout out Bits of Wealth, one of the guys I learned to trade from, he's a bear. And I had to, by the way, tip, if you're a bull, find a bear. If you're a bear, find a bull. Become friends and just understand the different perspectives, and it will help you understand the markets more. But he was showing me different, he takes, crypto pairs against the NASDAQ, and just looking at where you can almost give you a different line of sight. Now it's odd because there's not always actually an actual swap that way. Because look at these as almost swaps, right? It's just more of a map. But you can use, you go any ticker here, and there's, see over here, see there's divide, subtract, plus, multiply. And that's why using, trying to create a better USDT, where you're adding USDT plus USDC. So you're creating a better view of the entire stablecoin, well, the entire stablecoin market. But yeah, TradingView's got a lot of features. I kind of look at like Excel, where it's like, like 1% of Excel, but it's like, that's all you need. And TradingView probably has so many features and tools that we don't know about. So anyway.
Yeah. I want to take a look at some altcoins and field questions from the audience. But first, I want to take a look at Bitcoin dominance. I'm going to share my screen, Doug.
Go for it.
So taking a look at Bitcoin dominance here, we still have a nice, solid bearish break out of this massive channel we've been in, but we do have a very large swing to the upside that happened, well, today. Technically, this new candle is showing a little bit of it's only 2 hours and an hour and a half in for today. And if I pull up really just one indicator here, which is the Moxie, if I go to the 8-hour chart, it looks like we might get a bullish flip for Bitcoin dominance. We're really close to it. It could potentially even happen tomorrow. So that would happen if Bitcoin continued to sell. Then we could get a long signal on Bitcoin dominance, and then have a move upwards and try to have a pretty serious retest of getting back above into that channel. If that were to happen, say goodbye to altcoins for a little bit, because this would swing upwards and get back above this. Now, if we swang upwards and hit this line of resistance right here, and that confirmed it, you had to break from there, that would actually be a nice big swing for altcoins. And when I pull up to the weekly time frame, though, we're still looking pretty solid. So the 8-hour, maybe we have a short-term long, but on the weekly time frame, we're still getting short signals here for Bitcoin dominance. And I still would think immediately that price is coming to the 200 exponential moving average after that big bearish break on the 55-week EMA, sitting at about 55%. So looking at this, I see maybe we get a long signal for Bitcoin dominance, which would be bad for altcoins in the short term over maybe the remainder of this week potentially. But on the weekly time frame, we still see strong momentum for altcoins, even if we do get a rally here. That's what I'm looking at.
That makes sense. I mean, it seems like the plausible scenario, like right now. So,
So, Doug, how about we pull up Ethereum, and then after we take a look at Ethereum, we'll take some requests from the audience. We only have probably about 15 minutes of showtime, everybody, so we won't be able to take a bunch, but we'll take as many requests as we can get after we take a look at ETH. And Doug, can I get your chart here on the big screen?
Oh, my bad.
All good, buddy.
By the fifth show, I will have mastered this.
What is this?
All right.
Fourth show?
I think it's the fourth. I think it's the fourth. If it's the fifth, then it's the sixth time. So give me more time.
Okay, yeah. We'll be next time. Next time, either way.
Yeah. This was a nasty move today. Like I'm not gonna, especially after this. It's funny. Yesterday when I saw this candle, right? This was yesterday. It was Friday. This was Friday. That's right. Because I was gone this whole weekend. I'm like, okay. I'm like, we're going higher, right? We're going higher. It's gonna be up here. I'm expecting this, and then like something like that. Just because of the timing, all of this, like the amount of it's over down here. Like just like okay, that's a confirmation for me, right? But so today though, this was not good. Again, not implying anything's over, but I still could see this coming down. I mean, I can't. I mean, to being honest, I think it's going to come down here. But as of right now, I have to assume that it's at least give it the opportunity to do something like this, or if anything, where it is.
Exactly. That's exactly how I think it's playing out, actually.
Yeah, and maybe that's and maybe you get a nice divergence down here, where essentially you would get maybe some type of bullish divergence as you're coming down. That would be a very, very nice setup too, by the way, if that was the case, because everyone at that point would definitely believe, if they thought the timeline today, or what was that, yesterday, on Sunday, Saturday, Friday, Wednesday, I have perception of time so gone. The amount of bear posting would be significant. Like see, I'm right. Now, it still could go down there, right? But that would be the ideal next area of where I would be looking for a possible long.
Yeah. Now let me show you my chart on Ethereum, because I have the exact same answer, just following a different path, right? Because we got different styles. So let me share my screen right here.
I'll try to do it easy. Got it.
Now this is Ethereum on the daily time frame. You folks over here on TikTok as well. And this pink ascending wedge of sorts, they almost always break to the downside. Right. I like trading wedges a lot. This almost always breaks to the downside. And let me get the other statistics here. And the daily chart stochastic RSI, it dipped into oversold territory, but not entirely oversold. And now we're going to get an opportunity to do that. If we break out of this ascending triangle, we'll have a strong break of our 21-day exponential moving average. When you break a key exponential moving average, you almost always fall down to the next one, unless there's a very strong area of support above it. Now, this would mean we would fall down to our 55-day exponential moving average, sitting here at $3,837. Look at all of the support from this consolidation zone for Ethereum that's sitting here. The 55-day is sitting here. The top orange, this magenta line is also incredibly significant as well for a line of support, because it is the top of this massive consolidation pattern for Ethereum that started forming at the end of 2021. This is almost a 4-year-long pattern that we could just come down, just kind of maybe tap this, or maybe just dip below this, hold that as support, and then that is a confirmed bullish breakout of this pattern that would be valid to try to send Ethereum to over $7,700. So
it's funny. So real quick, it's funny just you say that, because so when I looked at the chart a minute ago, I honestly have not, again, getting back after a trip this weekend to work was just, how that is on Monday. I've really not been paying attention to charts, but when you pull up the weekly, right, and just look at that view that was right there, have to remember the bigger picture, like where it is on top of that, right, on top of that breakout. That essentially there is a very real possibility too of to your point right there, of that kind of sideways consolidation now, and just waiting for that opportunity, let's say post the video or whatever it may be, to give that next catalyst up.
Yep. And the breakout target, if we were to break right here, would actually be well below and would go to Doug's first target at $3,500. But again, the targets that you set for breakouts can get stopped if there is strong support or resistance before it. And we have a ton of strong support right here, like we pointed out, at about $3,800. So it could be $3,800 hold, and then you're golden, or we could have a dip further down back into the pattern of about $3,500, which is exactly what Doug drew, simply by just using his experience and his eyesight. How's that?
That's all I got left, Will. That's all I got left. The eyes. That's all
Experience
I got.
and eyes. Yeah. Now, guys, we will open it up to take a few suggestions from folks in the comment section. So if you are on TikTok, let us know. We have not too much more time left, actually, but we'll be able to take at least 3 or 4, maybe even 5 different coins. Also, let us know if you're on YouTube, Twitter. Someone's on Twitch over here. Hey, should you?
Oh, we're on Twitch too? Oh, sweet. I didn't know that. Nice.
We're on Twitch too, man. Let us know. CJ Holmes, I'm on TikTok. Link, WorldCoin, Morpho, Solana. We have a few people asking for Chainlink. Let's start with Chainlink.
All right, I'll do it here. Let's see. Oops, I need to pull back up. My bad. Stinky, as I call Stinky. Where are my Link Marines at? Hold on here. Let's flip this. All right.
Go find some peacock formations, says Fair Value Gary, who has been posting some fantastic stock related chart art over on Twitter, and it's been great.
Really gonna start leaning into the chart art, by the way. It's so exciting to me because I'm now, it's more motivation to me to actually start printing out charts and framing them in the apartment, because I told my girlfriend I would do it years ago, and she's like, "You're absolutely crazy." I'm like, "I know, but there's some charts and some art you have to appreciate." So we're definitely doing that now. So stink. I don't. Oh, look at that. That's chain link. That's
nice.
great. That's good. Sheesh. I mean, this
Harris break.
Yeah, this is. I think I saw cold-blooded Schiller before. Hold up. Do I have my awesome oscillator here? I don't. If there is a bearish divergence, if there's a slowing down, which I believe that it was from the RSI and momentum standpoint, I would believe this thing may have a little bit more pain to go. So like if you get Link, like between $20 and $18, I think that is a beautiful, beautiful spot. I'm not implying that's absolutely going to go there, but to me, that would be a nice area of interest for me overall. Alternatively, if we do find a local bottom sooner with alts, I mean, kind of the snares we were talking about earlier, this could quickly recover, but I would expect it still to do, a candle down here that would make it very difficult for you to figure out what the hell's going to happen next, because it would take out these lows, but it may just a quick fake out down like it's doing this and then recover like that. That would be if the rest of the market finds a bottom, and Link just basically had more pain to start and is really trying to shake out anyone who had longed last Saturday or last Friday or last week actually, and had a nice position here until right now.
Yeah, I really think of so much is dependent on what happens with NVIDIA.
Yeah, and that's at this point, it's all connected. It's all connected. Anyone tells me that's not.
Wednesday, jobs data Thursday. Oh, we get GDP, Q2. I feel like we've been getting Q2 GDP. No, that was Q1. Anyway, we get GDP data as well on Wednesday, Thursday.
By the way, it's funny you say that Q2. I just swear, in real life job, I like all from analysts, like firms, just like the reporting. I'm like, it's been Q2 forever. Like I feel like I just see Q2. It's like it's not Q. Come on, we're past that. We're
never past it.
Yep.
And then inflation data on Friday. So I would really just like to see a fast continuation of dumpage all the way through Wednesday trading up until 5 o'clock, and then NVIDIA has its earnings report, and everyone goes, "Oh wait, NVIDIA made how much money?" And then it's just like, and it's just an immediate rally. There is the chance though that NVIDIA, due to disruptions in their supply chain, that maybe didn't have the greatest quarter last quarter.
Yeah. So it's gonna be. Would you say maybe like 3? I'd say within the next week, things are going to be pretty clear. I mean, I would say by Friday, by this weekend, I think we have a little more clarity than we do right now about what the market's going to look like.
Especially if we get bad jobs data on Thursday. If we get bad jobs data on Thursday, then the market's going to pop up again. And then also, if you get inflation data on Friday, that's not that bad. Markets go flying again.
Agreed.
But anyway, I totally agree with what your view on Link.
Sweet.
I think you have about $21 to like $18 being the bottom for it before a rally.
I agree. PENGU? You've called up before?
Dana's been asking for PENGU, and I selfishly didn't.
So at a glance, immediately, like I just recognize, I see, let's see my little thing here. Where's my little, I have a lot of problems finding the thing that I want here. I see this just right away, like without even like a nice little channel.
Look at that flag.
After this big move up, right? So we go way back, and I remember this chart off the top of my head now, right? This is your.
That's a crazy cup and handle pattern.
3-day, yeah. Actually, you're right. It's good. Cup and handle for me, I don't.
They typically don't work.
I don't like the cup and handle. I like. Oh, I have a good one, Will. I got the ramen soup bowl. The ramen soup bowl.
Yeah.
I gotta show you that one. That is injective. And Solana back in 2023, I think Solana was maybe on the daily chart, and I want to say injective was like on a 4-hour chart. That's in my mind. But yeah, those I gotta go back and find that. But yeah, this looks good. The only thing that would say here, so the key level, I got distracted by my thoughts there. Key level's like 3.2. Let's call it 3 cents, 3.25. The current 3-day candle is pretty nasty. I'm not gonna lie, that's here. Like that was pretty.
It's
I think
almost bearishly engulfing.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. I think it really, again, the next day or two will probably clear of like what this. Oh, that's a close actually. I'm sorry, that one did close.
Wait,
That's a nasty 3-day chart. Yeah, this. I
Wait,
didn't see
no,
the
I was looking at the recent candle. I was like, wow, that a close. Okay.
So this still might do something like this and come down, which still is fine. Like so, this channel is your guidance right now. I think this is what you're looking for, and I know that 3-2 level is probably like the pivot point for. Okay, let's now go higher. Hold on here. Where's my? Here we go. Like somewhere right here, because if you look back to where this, I'm always keep in mind the consolidation before the move up. So this strong, right, move up here. This area here is super critical, and you can't see it because I'm using the wrong actual tool. There we go. This area is very critical, and how this, because those folks got long mid-July and have been feeling really, really good until right now. Right, so right now those lows are being tested. If I look at this, actually, did that tap right into that? It's almost like they're equal lows right there. That's nice, but I would want it to go a little bit further down. So that's why I think this candle makes sense for this to go down here, to then take out these final lows over here. Anyone else who's been sticking around and basically has diamond hands. And then if, again, aligning with the overall market, that would be the bottom of this channel. Even if it breaks down below the channel, comes right back in, up, or above this level, up. Trigger here or trigger here. It's just that, so any move down right now I think is okay, and also too can go sideways depending on what alts do overall, but this is still okay. I would have concerns if we start trading below like 023, like anywhere down here I'd be like, meh, I'm not happy with that. So
I could see a possibility where we fall to basically 2.2 cents. The reason why is on my chart, that's where the 200-day exponential moving average is. However, when I'm on the 8-hour chart, and I use the stochastic RSI, which is a very good bottom indicator, it's in oversold territory. It's in oversold territory while sitting above its 200 exponential moving average and its 200 simple moving average, and a key line of support from those previous, lows you mentioned about, kind of knocking out at like 2.9, 2.8, 2.7 cents or so.
Well, now that you're talking 8-hour, I agree. I like the fair value gap between here. What is this, like to 2.6 and 2? Yeah, 10.2. Yeah, that's where you're looking 2.2 down here. Anywhere in there, right? I think that's a nice, would be a nice area to tap of to clean this up a little bit. But yeah, Pengu's a great, and Pengu, to me, honestly, I'm sure you'd agree with Will, is just more or less you're buying Pengu because you're buying Pengu. Right? The chart more or less you're just basically trying to find a better entry, but it has more value than just the price itself, unlike or every other project that's in the space that's a meme. So anyway, what's next?
I don't know, guys. What other coins do you want? What other coins, guys? Let us know in the chat, and we'll do one more. I saw some people ask for ONDO before. We have asked for Sleepless, for Dog with Hat, Polkadot, ONDO, EOS, ADA, Bitcoin, Solana, ONDO. Simply because there was a question mark after ONDO. Who put a question mark at the end of his teleprompter? Everyone knows he reads everything on the teleprompter. We'll do ONDO.
Do you want to do it? You want to pull up here? What do you want to do?
You start it, and I need to take a look at it because I haven't looked at ONDO's chart in forever. So you start, and I'll do a follow-up.
So ONDO, like one of my favorite charts, like of the year to the beginning of this, like this was just a beautiful thing altogether. And I honestly think if things didn't go down the shitter in February, this would have been this next very, very big move up. And that's so a lot of these tokens, I always focus on that point where it's almost like it looked like we were supposed to go up and this broke down. That to me is your most important level. And that's like 118, 115-ish, whatever. Once we're back above that, that's when you can start getting very bullish again. Like up here, I've reclaimed that level. Whatever happens down here, doesn't matter to me for right now, but that's your main level to remember. Like write down a piece of paper. Hey, ONDO above, let's call it $1.20. Let's make it a little easier here, a little more room. $1.20, holding that level for a while is great. However, right now by looking at this, I see two scenarios. See one where this pulls back to here and then makes this like this W, right? This like kind of double bottom where it's almost like an expanding, you can't see me on TikTok here, like an expanding opening W, double bottom. That would have to align with, alts, just really kind of, that's actually pretty bigger, couple weeks actually, damn. That's what I want to see, because anything else underneath that would be no bueno. Like down here, no bueno. We do all the way over here and not coming back up. So ideally, don't lose. I would target maybe if I zoom in here on the weekly. Maybe tap into like 08 to 083 and then a move up. But there is a lot of selling here. I don't like this right here. Right, this was a lot of selling every time I hit this. So this area right now is very critical where we're at right now, but still a great chart. Again, ONDO goes lower. I would embrace ONDO, below 80 cents with open arms. So I think this is still a good market, but it has some work to do to get back to being okay. So like I was saying, that's my thought of where I believe this will go.
Yeah, and let me share my screen right now with ONDO. So let's see you. Yeah.
Yes, there we go.
What I'm looking at here, so I have ONDO on the weekly time frame right now. And actually, let me go to the daily time frame. The first thing I want to talk about is a little bit more clear. So this white line of general resistance and support, it's not perfectly drawn, but let's just say it's right here. From this bottom, here we go, another inflection point here, another inflection point here. We have a seriously bearish break of this line of support, serious bearish break, which signifies to me more selling for ONDO. Not a shocker. We're looking at more selling in Bitcoin and just about everything right now. Now, if I pull up the weekly chart, I have this general line also that ONDO really likes to stay above ever since February of last year. Really likes to stay off it. And if it's below it, it's not below it for long. So this to me is the general line that I'm using to say, hey, we could bounce off of this, or if we dip below it, it's a real good buying opportunity that I might have for maybe just 1 week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks, right? And then we're going to use it as a major inflection point because we were below it, we got above it, we had a big, gigantic move upwards. We got just above it, we held, gigantic move to the upside. Just fell below it, had a little bit of move to the upside, fell below it, had a little bit of a move to the upside, right? So every single time you touch this line or dip right below it, you have an opportunity to set up a pretty damn good trade for ONDO. It really likes to respect this line, which is an interesting trend. And if we were to fall like a rock, which really wouldn't be that far. So if we were to fall like a sheet of paper,
Yep.
that would be 84.3 cents is your current key price point to be watching for this week. That's that.
Hey, we are aligned. I think it's funny because I was having the conversation the other day with, or it was on multiple topics. Like I think you, the way I live vicariously through the way that you approach charting, because it's the way that I would want to do it, but my brain just doesn't function that way. However, it's almost like it's just confluence, right? You are a live human confluence to the things that I see, and it's just good to hear different perspectives. I will say also too, just everyone who's listening right now, if you're new to charting and want to learn, so put charting and trading in two different. I'll flip this back here. Sorry, charting and trading into two different buckets, right? Charting and the analysis part of the equation is the thing you want to focus on. Trading can very quickly make you very, you can lose everything and you're done without even learning the skill, the trade of trading. Not to use the pun there. But what I would say is make sure you're looking at multiple perspectives. Like Will and I are just two guys, right? Go follow some others, like ones that speak to you or like have a different view on it. And then over time, you kind of narrow that down. You start like understanding and hearing things that are common between the groups and the ones that are not. But then it gives you almost like a baseline for you to build a perspective and a way for you to build your own system. And that's kind of how you really go about it. Because I'm always asked the question, like, well, how do I learn? Is there a class? Classes are great too, for the technicals, the book smarts of things like that. If you want to add like kind of the flair for it, for you to understand like how to look at it, just recommend following lots of folks and then narrowing it down for the ones that make sense to you.
No, dude, I think perfectly well said, man. And I'm going to give 2 more coins to folks. Because Rada on Morali was really asking for FARTCOIN for a long time. And he was like, please look at the YouTube comments. And I wasn't. So Rada will do FARTCOIN. And also Armani, you were very patient as well on TikTok and were asking very nicely. So I reward politeness.
I always reward politeness.
And we'll take a look at Dog with Hat. You pull up FARTCOIN. I will pull up with.
I will gladly pull up FARTCOIN, as it is one of my absolute favorite charts of all time. That is actually the one that I joke about with a girlfriend. Like, we're gonna frame and post chart FARTCOIN. You know that, right? That's the one that's going on the wall. I'll at least pull I'll leave the name off.
I'm leaving you.
Wow. Yes. This is wow. It's such a, like, all the way to here, like when this was, I love this chart, and I still do. Just at a glance here, you kind of see this. Let's call this like a meme line, where it's almost just like you just see it's like hanging a balance, right? Where these are 3 different sections. So one section is here, right? This is your first section. Then your second section is all of this, right? That's here. These different colors. Make this blue. We'll make this red. And then
I wasn't sharing your screen. My apologies.
Oh, it's all good. No problem. And then we'll make this. Well, I learned there's a new shape here, by the way. This is the rotated rectangle. This is a new one for me. I just didn't know it was there, and I was always trying to make my own rotated rectangle without it. Okay, so there we go. So like 3 different sections, right? So right now this green section is almost like hanging off of the blue here, and it's looking for that catapult up, right? That's here. Like, what is that accelerant? What is that move that's going to do that? And it has to happen soon. Like, if we got that, it'd be very, very, very bullish. Now, I got to be honest, yesterday when I remember looking at this,
doesn't look like we're getting that right now.
What's that?
Doesn't look like we're getting that right
now.
now.
I don't think so. So it's almost like this breakdown here was kind of painful.
12-hour candle right there. That's
so I really didn't want to lose 85 cents here. I think if I go back to a chart that I had from a couple weeks ago, off the top of my head, was targeting the 65, 60, 59 area. And I think that's definitely within the cards now, how things are looking. Which, by the way, this token though it almost like is representation of, I would say that, I think I've said this before, I think it's the best representation of this, whatever the last 6 to 9 months has been. From a meme coin, altcoin perspective, I think this is kind of your one that's been like, I don't know, gave it an identity. Not saying it's a great identity, but it's like, it is part of, it's the meme of the cycle, in my opinion. But I see something like that, right? So 65 cents, I think we're going to go. Otherwise we recover soon and this thing stands right where it is. But until down here, I don't think it's a bullish token regardless. That's me.
65 looks very likely to me. But then being a likely place to turn around.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, if this doesn't bounce here, dead. I'm not going to put it like a dead. Like, you need to see significant demand here. If we do anything like this and we're here, then
could totally happen with a meme coin.
Excuse me?
Which could totally happen with a meme
100%, without a doubt. Yes, without a doubt.
Yep. All right, let me share my screen for Dog with Hat, which is still just such a good name.
Like, that was the one, and while you're pulling it up, that was the one that for me, like, I was frustrated at, because that's when October 2023, I think it was, where that one was like the leader of the pack of the meme coins, and that's when I started realizing, oh, those are easier to trade than Solana. This is annoying, but hey, I can't throw any shade at Whip.
Here we are. So this is Dog with Hat on the weekly time frame. All right, so we're looking at long term. Now, first of all, I'm going to take a look at the stochastic RSI here at the bottom, and I'm going to see that it's not in oversold territory yet, which tells me that we don't have a confirmed bottom. So probably looking for some lower levels. Now, we see right here that there's a batch of price action that we are sitting above right now. So we're trying to hold that as support, but it doesn't necessarily seem likely. But if we zoom in on the short-term time frame, let me see. We are starting to get oversold on the daily charts, stochastic RSI, and we're sitting directly on top of the 200 simple moving average. So there is a possibility that Dog with Hat holds here, starts to have a recovery, but we don't have any confirmation of that yet. So there's a potential there. Now, when we come back to the weekly chart, it does seem more likely that a bearish break of this general wedge is going to have a target lower down. And so if we find support, we can see when Dog with Hat first came into creation here, we had this chunk of consolidatory price history.
This is sorry, what exchange is this? This is actually, regardless, you're good. That's still a good reference.
This is the entire crypto market.
Okay, cool. Got it. Yep. Sweet.
Together. And then we can see that this was respected as well and created a higher low. So I would think that we are more likely right now to fall down to at least 55 cents, and then maybe have a recovery like this, or we find some sort of support within here, within this block, and then have a recovery. That could be as far down as maybe 31, 32 cents. I doubt we would go down and totally bottom out on this chart. That would be my guess. We either come down to 55 cents or we come down to about 35 cents.
If we don't bounce at 55 cents there, in my opinion, I think we'd lose that level. And I think crypto would be in a tough place if that happened. No, I take that back. WIF was much weaker earlier this year when we kind of got the breakdown overall. So WIF is not necessarily as good of a gauge as, let's say, FARTCOIN was. But I think
definitely off trend right now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But guys, that's it. Those are all the charts we had time for here. So if you want to find the interview with Moty again at DefiTuna that we did for the first 45 minutes of the show, head on over to YouTube, where all of the show's recordings for the morning show, the After Dark show on Wednesdays, and the Monday Market Watch shows all live in perpetuity at the Rise Up Morning Show's YouTube page. Also, we will be live tomorrow morning. Doug, you're always welcome to roll on through if you want with myself, Evan, and Alex. I'll only be able to be on for a short period of time, but Evan and Alex will be on for another episode of the Rise Up Morning Show. And yeah, I don't know, Doug, do you have any final thoughts before we ride our cats and cows and dogs and ponies off into the sunset?
I would say that to expect more downside here, but remember the things that were covered here overall. And I'm not implying that, hey, it's going to go lower and Will and Doug say it's going to bounce, right? But just set yourself up for all the scenarios, right? The scenarios of the further, pullback here, even if we get some relief into tomorrow, and then we have this, it's a big week. So I guess changing my thought now, Will, don't rush into new positions here and don't over leverage. Your goal during these periods of time is preservation of capital, or you want to survive, right? That's where it may be. So if you may have some poor positions right now, hey, so does everybody, right? But you're going through, but if you are in a place where it's like, hey, I need to hold my base, like my stables, let's say, and I want to be cautious about it, you have time to wait, because when the next move up comes, it'll be very clear to me of when that is, and it will be you have days. So don't try to catch the knife. Don't try to catch the falling knife if you go any further, and just have a plan. That was a long final thought. Those were final thoughts.
I thought that was a pretty concise one. As far as final thoughts go, sometimes Alex gives us a 5 or 10 minute long rant.
By the way, I do want to come on. I want to ask Alex his thoughts on XRP now, just because I love his XRP rants in general.
I was about to say we should gaslight the fuck out of him. Just ask him, be like, I don't know, dude. I really don't think content creator made meme coins are really all that bad. It's like, I don't know. I don't think I'm ever going to take any profits ever again. That could be a good time.
It's fun. It's all for fun. But hey, so.
Yeah, but if you guys weren't here earlier, also, I'll just have my final thoughts be my personal thoughts when I think the market's going to do. I think at some point this week or early into next, Bitcoin heads down to about $106,000 to about $105,000. And then I bet it starts to swing on upwards to about $120,000 to $125,000. That's personally what I think is going to happen. What am I doing? I'm dollar cost averaging into a handful of altcoins that I really like, and also Bitcoin. That's what I'm doing. So guys, thank you very much for the show, or for hopping on and watching the show. Thank you for all the likes over on TikTok as well. As always, do good things, be good people, make a bunch of money, and we will see you next time.